I believe one person can have an effect. I love teaching, and it's something that you get something out of rather than watching parts come off an assembly line. Okay, you can affect people for years. As I tell my students, education, intelligence, ambition, drive comes at the exact same levels from the poor and the middle class as it does from the wealthy. Okay, so they have just as much opportunity to become whatever they want to become as anybody else does. And education's that equalizer.
We're here to celebrate the life of a good man, and Bill was indeed a good man. He'd be the first to tell you he wasn't perfect, and if he wouldn't, I would encourage him to do so. This is a time of reflection, a time of healing and grieving, a time of sharing stories and memories of a really good friend.
I feel very honored today to be able to read Bill's last article that he wrote for us, for our souls. Be grateful for our greatest gift. Be grateful for our greatest gift. Folks, I missed getting a column in last week for the first time in almost 7 years. My wife has been very ill, and I also needed some hospital time for testing. To top all of this, our computer crashed. I used to think I was getting old. However, I must now face the fact that I am old. Things are now beginning to wear out. The old timers had a saying, you can't take it with you. Dreams of the young are extremely important. The best question you can ask a child is, what are you going to be when you grow up? It doesn't make any difference what they answer. The goal is to start children thinking about their future. When they've learned to write, have them make a list of their dreams. Some of the things on their list will be very simple. Some will take a lifetime to achieve, and some will never be accomplished. For those of us no longer young, a bucket list will suffice. Just make a list of those things that you want to do, see, or experience, and do them. If some of the things on your list will stretch your physical abilities, mental capacities, or the nervous system, so be it. The last thought is you and I are solely responsible for the attitudes of people around us. This is just a thought for each of us to contemplate. Please remember, I warned you.
Reflecting back, I can remember we had a lot of good times. But thinking about yesterday, the article and the timing and the content, I couldn't help but kick myself a little, you know, about shoulda, wouldas, didn'ts. But then I remembered I didn't have that facts last week. Those facts weren't entered. I didn't have that information a month ago that I have now or a year ago. But I had it now, so what do? This is what he said. You move forward. So I read his article again. I couldn't remember 5 days in 210. So that's my New Year's resolution. I'm going to remember at least 5 days. And if they're good days for me, great days for me, like he wanted them to be, things that didn't happen to me, I hope they're at least good days for somebody else. Because that's the way he'd live them. Thank you very much.
Recently, Bill confided in me that he had been able to accomplish everything that he wanted in this lifetime, with one major exception, through hard work and perseverance. And if you know Bill, he was all about hard work and perseverance, and by God, he was going to get whatever it was that he wanted. But he said that he failed in one item, If you don't know, not only am I Bill's friend and fellow faculty member, but I was also Bill's treasurer for his 5 failed political campaigns. That was his one exception, that he really wanted to be elected state representative, and that he was never able to achieve that goal. So I am hopeful that in heaven, a Democrat can get elected. Because there's no chance in hell in Highland County.
Bill saw potential in every single one of those students, and he challenged them. He kicked their butts if they didn't want to meet it. He saw their brilliance. He saw where they were lagging behind. He found the broken wings, and he gave them encouragement. He gave them opportunities quietly in his own way. He came across students who he might have found one, and he did, who was living in a box behind a hotel, who had no means to get out of that situation. He found means very quickly among a few quiet ones, among his colleagues who came together to change someone's life. He did that over and over in so many ways.
I was one of Bill's students, and so was my daughter. And Bill made a big difference in my life. He made me realize that one person, no matter how much money you didn't have and how much status you didn't have, make a difference. And he told me that everyone has to draw a line, and you can never cross your own line. You have to draw a line that you will not cross. These are the things I won't do, these are the things I will do, and never ever cross it. And I tell all my kids that, and I will never ever ever forget him for that. And to this day, when I walk into Walmart, I have this horrible guilt come over me.
Bill Doan was my friend. When Bill counts you as a friend, you enjoy undying loyalty, unconditional acceptance, and sometimes, no, lots of times, uncomfortably blatant honesty, whether you want it or not. Bill was a good man who strove to make this world a better place. He was a rebel with a cause. Bill was my man from Lamont. Excepting he chose knowingly the windmills to fight. I jokingly said one time when he had gotten me into some kind of trouble that I didn't want to be in, that I would gladly most of the time serve as his Sancho Panza. Because Bill was going 24/7 when most people his age were resting on their laurels and slowing down. So I close with an apropos quote. For me alone, Don Quixote was born, and I for him. His was the power of action, mine of writing. I enjoyed writing and reading things to you about the old hog farmer. God bless the old hog farmer.